Now you can have a piece of history, even check someone off your Christmas list. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart.
And I'm Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck.
Hey, big thank you goes out to our partners, ranchchannel.com. We've got lots of bull sales on there, lots of listings that came on just over the weekend. The Happy Toy Maker, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Transova Genetics, Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multimin and Lactipro, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Farmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. The name Hollis Williford may not ring a bell to many of you. Hollis Williford was an American artist known for his remarkable versatility and creative range. Now, have you been to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City? If not, it needs to be on your bucket list. The massive 12-foot monument called Welcome Sundown stands at the entryway of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, and it is one of his famous sculptures. I have seen it, and it is awesome, to say the least. Well, now is your chance to own a piece of history and get the perfect gift at the same time, just in time for the holidays. Eric Grant from Grant Company recently finished the biography, Hollis Williford, The Crossing at the River. And let me tell you, this book is nothing short of incredible. 325 pages of pictures and writings dedicated to Hollis Williford's life work. It depicts Williford's love and appreciation for the Western way of life, Native American culture, and the way of life, as I call it, from the sunny slopes long ago. Eric, hey, thanks for joining us today. First, I got to say thank you so much for sending Beck and I a copy of this book. Incredible is a word that it doesn't do it justice. Now, I have to start like this. You worked for the NCBA, the Salaires Association, the Angus Association. You've written for many different agricultural publications. You've been a freelance writer, and now you own and operate Grant Company, a multimedia communications company focusing on agricultural clients in content creation located in St. Joseph, Missouri. Now, how in the world did you ever get charged with the task of putting this book together?
I stumbled into his artwork kind of at an antique store in Denver when I was working for the National Cattlemen's Association way back in the early 90s. Bought the etching, took it home, hung it on the wall, didn't think anything of it till a couple of months later. And then thought, gosh, I wonder who this guy is. So I went home, wrote his name down on a piece of paper. This is before the internet, and just decided I'd reach out to him. And called a couple of art galleries down in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, figuring they knew something about it. And they directed me toward him, which he lived in Loveland, Colorado, which is just north of Denver. And so I dialed information back then, 1411, and got his number, called him, and he invited me to come up. And in that meeting with him, I was just entranced with his work. And the next day I went home, wrote him a nice letter, probably the best letter I ever wrote in my life, telling him thanks for having us up. And within 2 weeks, based on that letter, he came back to me and said, hey, I've been looking for someone to write my biography. And would you be interested in coming up and meeting again and potentially doing that? So from that point forward, my relationship with Hollis developed, but I had a lot of difficulty at the time putting it all down. And eventually the project fizzled, although I did have about 5 years worth of interviews and time with him. So I got to know him really well. But the project fizzled. And then in 2020, there was, along with COVID and that wacky time that we all lived through, there was an attack on public art. And I became very concerned about Hollis's work, much of which is, monuments, statues in very public places. And I thought to myself, gosh, what would happen if his work got defaced or destroyed? And I should mention Hollis passed away in 2007. So, there's really no one left to protect his work. So I gathered up all of my notes and decided, I've got to get this written. And spent the next 2 years. I wrote it quick, got a draft done quick in about 10 days. But took about 2 years then to assemble all the photos and do all the design work and everything after that. So we completed in 2023, but really the motivation came from trying to protect what I loved, which is our Western heritage, the cowboy heritage, all those kinds of things, for future generations, and not to see those things destroyed. And if there's one message, from Hollis's life, is that we have an obligation to be creative, to create things, whether you're a rancher or a store owner or a broadcaster or whatever. Your obligation is to create things and make life better for other people. We tried to kind of weave Hollis's life along with into his work. And so the book has literally hundreds of photos of his drawings, of his sculpture, and also photos of his life growing up. He grew up in Texas on a farm. So it's an interesting balance, I think, between kind of the biographical aspects of the artist's life from his childhood on up, and also the creative expression of his work. And we were able to photograph a lot of his work firsthand, and that includes the book includes a lot of those photos as well. So it's, like you say, it is a beautiful book, and it's beautiful because it includes so many photos of his work in it.
The story of Hollis Williford, it's inspiring in and of itself, and I can only assume that after you, Eric, putting in over 30 years of research into this project, that some of his philosophy is worn off on you as well.
Honestly, a lot of the creative processes that I use today and that I mentor my team about came from Hollis. And he had above and beyond his work, which would include paintings, etchings, drawings, sculpture. Really what's come out since the book came out is, literally dozens and dozens of people have called me to tell me just how much Hollis impacted their life and put their life on a positive path toward being creative and embracing our heritage. The power of taking initiative. And by that, I mean, had I not decided I'm going to seek this guy out and give him a call and just sat there and let life kind of happen, I never would have met him. And I think whether you're selling bulls or, working on a ranch, or there's lessons in that every phone call you make has the potential to change the arc of your life in a positive direction, and not to be hesitant when those moments arrive, that you should pick up the phone and seek out people that can make your life better. Hollis was a big believer in freedom and the power of freedom. And one of the things that he said a lot was, the greatest gift I can give you is the freedom to choose. Choose your own life, live your own life the way you want to. And I think as I've gone through this process, I mean, this has been a 30-year project for me to get it completed. You start to realize just how short life is, and you have an obligation as a human, to go out there and get it done and express your life in the way that you want to express your life. And we live in the greatest country in the world, probably the greatest time in history. And the last thing we want to do is lose our freedom. It's the greatest gift that God ever gave us, and don't waste it. Go out and push the limits every day, which is something that Hollis did. I think the thing that surprised me the most is the number of friends that I've made as a result of this project. People have just crawled out of the woodwork, the new Hollis that I've become friends with. And every friend changes, the arc and the direction of your life a little bit, or at least enriches it. That's been wild. I didn't expect that to happen. And I think probably just the simple truth, and I compare this to when I was on the ranch as a kid, and building fence or fixing fence in the summertime, and the elk have gone through and torn it all up, and the snow drifts have knocked over the fence posts, and you got 150 yards of bad fence you got to stretch up, and the only way that it gets fixed is for you to fix it. The only way for something that's gnawing at you, like writing a book, is to actually write it. That's a simple solution to a hard thing. Fixing that fence or writing a book are hard in their own way, but it doesn't ever happen unless you take that first step. So for me, when I finally decided to take that first step, it was almost like being on a river and a current in a river. It just flowed. And the hardest part is thinking about it and worrying about it. And so I would say those three things, more than anything, have changed my life and probably given me a little more wisdom than what I had before I wrote the first word.
Eric Grant, thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your journey of another's journey, really. Now, you can view Hollis Williford's work at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City, the Denver Art Museum, and the Gilcrease Museum in Tulsa. Now, for the book, head to holliswilliford.com. That is Hollis, Hollis, Williford, Williford.com, and enter in the code NSS, and you're going to get a $40 discount for the holidays. Now, no worries. If you didn't get those written down, we will have all of the links available in the show notes at our headquarters, and that is ranchitupshow.com, where you can call and text and say, I need that information. 707-RANCH-20, 707-726-2420, and we will make sure that we get all of that information passed on to you just in time for the holidays. Now, speaking of time, we need to take a break, and when we come back, we've got news and updates for you all, so keep it tuned right here to the Ranch It Up Radio Show.
Have you considered IVF, in vitro fertilization, in your cow herd? You need to look at your herd's full potential, and Transova Genetics is there to help you along the way. From now until September 30th, use your pregnant donor and IVF technology and receive a $100 discount. Call Transova Genetics today. Unlock your herd's potential.
Howdy, folks. Do you have that young cow kid in your life and trying to find the perfect gift this holiday season? Look no further than the Happy Toy Maker. Order now in time for Christmas at thehappytoymaker.com and check them out on Facebook. Toys that last a lifetime.
Attention cattle producers. Boost your herd's trace mineral status with Axiota Animal Health's Multi-Min 90. This injectable solution delivers essential trace minerals known to support cattle health and reproduction. Don't settle for less when it comes to your herd health. Trust Axiota Animal Health to keep your cattle in prime condition. Visit your local supplier or veterinarian to learn more about Multi-Min 90. Multi-Min 90, because healthy cattle mean a healthy bottom line.
LivestockMarket.com. We hear from the crew at LivestockMarket.com every week. Bulls, cows, bred heifers, open to replacement heifers, cow-calf pairs, feeders and stockers, horses, pigs, goats, sheep, show stock, hay and straw, and even alpacas. All listed on LivestockMarket.com.
Cow Country News. You know, the cow stuff.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association, NCBA, thanked the U.S. Senate for passing the Federal Disaster Tax Relief Act. In addition to providing much-needed relief to victims of hurricanes, this legislation would provide tax relief for cattle producers who received payments due to wildfires. Previously, these payments counted as taxable income, meaning producers who already suffered from disasters were hurt again by having their relief payments taxed. The Federal Disaster Tax Relief Act addresses limitations in casualty losses and allows producers to take greater deductions for disaster-related losses. The Federal Disaster Tax Relief Act addresses limitations in casualty losses and allows producers to take greater deductions for disaster-related losses. Additionally, the bill excludes any payments received due to a qualified wildfire disaster from being counted as income for federal tax purposes. The bill also retroactively applies to any wildfire payments received in tax years 2020 through 2025. Producers will have the opportunity to file with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, for relief payments received in these previous years. Many producers hailed the issuance of a nationwide preliminary injunction blocking the Corporate Transparency Act from being enforced on January 1st, 2025. This ruling from the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Texas protects millions of family farmers and ranchers from reporting requirements imposed by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, a division of the U.S. Department of the Treasury. We've talked about the Corporate Transparency Act in great detail a few episodes back, and remember that every producer's situation is different, and this information should not be construed as professional advice. Always consult your attorney and/or tax professional to determine how the Corporate Transparency Act impacts you. You can go back and listen to episode 213 for additional information. Head to the show notes at ranchitupshow.com.
And an update from ranchchannel.com. In addition to using it for checking the future markets that are updated, we have these new listings, new sale dates from Wrestler Land and Cattle. And in fact, they've got semen packages available on the Destiny Bull. So Red Angus breeders, pay attention there. A new sale date for Spruce Hill Ranch. They moved their sale up about 2.5, 3 months. So check that out on ranchchannel.com. Prairie Hills Gelbvieh, we have their information updated and available for you. Wassum Red Angus, their annual production sale coming up February 25th. In addition, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, their top cut bull sale in Ideal, South Dakota. Vollmer Angus Ranch, April 1st, 2025. Check out all these listings and more at ranchchannel.com. And that's all we have from the newsroom. When we come back after the break, we're talking livestock for sale, hay for sale, market recaps, outlooks, and a lot more on the Ranch It Up Radio Show.
There's still lots of time to market those calves if you haven't done so already. Explore every option and add Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners to the list. With over 30,000 feeder cattle marketing annually, the Allied Genetic team works to help commercial producers get what you deserve from your extra investment in profit-focused genetics. Contact any of the Allied team by heading to AlliedGeneticResources.com. A powerful partner to have. Allied Genetic Resources.
Looking for the best way to raise beef, whether on pasture, crop residue, or in a dry lot? Choose Westway Feed Products. Westway Feed Products boost forage utilization, efficiency, and sustainability. Find your nearest rep by calling 800-800-7517 or visit westwayfeed.com. Stay connected with the crew from Westway Feed Products on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Call 800-800-7517 or go to westwayfeed.com today.
Should I sell heifers or keep some as replacements? Consider upgrading your cow herd with material instinct and stayability, all while providing that extra shot of heterosis. Look no further than Gelbvieh and Balancer Genetics. Discover the cow power with Gelbvieh and Balancer. Gelbvieh and Balancer, smart, reliable, profitable. Gelbvieh.org. RanchChannel.com, bull sales, western events, product information right at your fingertips on the ultimate cowboy-friendly platform. Want to follow up-to-date markets? RanchChannel.com. No need to dig for information on all these different websites. It's all right there on RanchChannel.com.
We run a lot of high milk-producing mama cows in our herd.
Mitch Kenobi of Norfolk dealt with scours in his herd.
So bad that we sent samples off to South Dakota State and Kansas State. Heard about Farmatan. As a producer, I know it's our job to limit our inputs, but when it comes to Farmatan, Dad and I don't blink an eye. It is a must for every calving season.
Adding Farmatan to your livestock's nutrition this fall will rid your new herd of scours in the spring. Go to FarmatanUSA.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. That time in the program, we check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. We go through the numbers from last week. Kirk, what do you got for us this morning, buddy?
Well, good morning, Tigger, and all your listeners out there. As of Friday, December 6th, January feeder futures closed the week at 256.15. That's down 285 on the week, with a CME feeder index at 261.83, up $7.01. That big rally in cash jumped the basis to a positive $5.68. That's a very wide basis for futures this close to expiration. So either futures are oversold or cash has to come down a little bit. We'll see how that plays out. December live cattle closed the week at 187.20. That's down 80 cents on the week. Cash traded 190 to 191.50 in all regions, leaving the 5-area weighted average for December 6th 38 cents higher at 190.35, and the basis at positive $3.15. Same story on the live cattle basis. That's a pretty wide basis, especially for December in delivery. The weekly slaughter was 614,000 head. That's 78,000 head more than last week. But last week was a holiday-shortened week, and 24,000 head below the same week last year. Choice boxes closed the week up $1.52 at $312.04, but that still leaves the estimated spot packer margin profits at near $110 head a loss. That's necessarily outright bearish, but definitely something to kind of keep an eye on as we hope for any additional strength. To wrap this up, March corn closed the week at $4.40. That's up 12 cents on the week. Corn continues to consolidate within a very large wedge formation as it goes sideways.
Hey all, Mark VanZee with LivestockMarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, December 18th, we have an online hay and straw auction. Over 1,500 bales of alfalfa, grass, straw, and corn stalks. Bidding opens at $1 a bale, no reserves, all lots will sell. Featured lots include 660 large round straw bales selling on 22 semi-truckload lots. It's 5x6 net wrap, no rain, made with the John Deere 568 from 3S Auctions in Harvard, Nebraska. 350 large round grass bales selling on 12 truckload lots, 5x6 net wrap, native prairie, Timothy and brome, 1,350 pounds. It's clean, no mold from 3S Auctions. 120 large round corn stalk bales selling on 4 lots, 5x5 net wrap 4 times. It's been raked, not shredded from 3S Auctions. 100 large round wheat straw bales selling on 5 lots of 20, 5x6 net wrap, made in July from Hall Auction